pleasure to introduce the students of Ocean Shore School, who are also members of the Girl Scout Troop 62776 and 60685, Chloe, Amelie, and Zoe. They're going to lead the flag salute and read the land acknowledgement.
And this sounds good.
Please stand.
Okay. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Pacifica School District acknowledges that we gather on the unceded ancestral homelands of extend our gratitude to the Ramayana elders and community. We recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland, and we affirm the sovereign rights of First Peoples. As the original stewards of this land, the Ramayana understand the interconnectedness of all things and the importance of maintaining harmony with nature. Likewise, Pacifica School District commits to teaching our school community how to be responsible stewards of this land.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you very much. Barbara, would you take a roll call?
Yeah, keep it all.
Here. 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 The district records the audio portion of the meetings. All recordings are kept in the superintendent's office for 30 days and are available during that time for inspection by the members of the public on district equipment without charge. In-person speakers wishing to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items, please complete a request card with your name, address, and item number and submit it to the board president or superintendent. You'll be called to address the board and may speak for up to three minutes. Virtual speakers wishing to address the board on the agenda or non-agenda items, please submit your first and last name and agenda item you wish to speak on in the Q&A area of the webinar. Please do not submit comments or questions in the Q&A area. You'll be called to address the board. Your microphone will be unmuted and you may speak for up to 3 minutes. Please note, the public is welcome to provide comment to the board. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes unless extended or limited by the vote of the board. A maximum of 20 minutes, unless extended by the board, is allocated to each subject discussion. The Brown Act The Brown Act open meeting regulations under which the board must operate do not allow board members to comment on non-agenda items or information you may bring up that are not on the agenda. Additionally, no action can be taken. However, the board may give direction to the staff following your comments. All right, next action item. Says it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the agenda of the August 23rd, 2023 regular board meeting. Are there any questions regarding that agenda item? Do I have a motion to approve that agenda? Motion to approve. And a second? Second. All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 4-0. Turn to the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be approved with one motion, which is not debatable and which requires a unanimous vote for passage. If any member of the board, the superintendent, or the public so requests, any item shall be removed from this section and placed in regular order of business following approval of the consent agenda. Are there any questions regarding these consent agenda? Do I have a motion to go through the consent agenda? Okay, and do I have a second? A second. All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 4-0. Let's see. Let's move on. All right, next is our superintendent special recognition. Dr. Williams.
Thank you. As everyone knows that we are so excited at Pacifica School District in terms of the partnership that we have with community members, also with our families, and some are family and community members and our staff and everyone alike. Every once in a while, you have a community partner who goes that extra run in order to ensure that all of our students are well, that they're nurtured, and they're in a wonderful learning environment. And so this evening, I am excited to be able to present acknowledgement and a hearty thank you to the members of the St. Bridge Summer Camp. St. Bridge Camp is a 4.5 week summer program sponsored by the Pacifica School volunteers that challenges young minds to explore new ideas, analyze situations, and creatively solve challenges where there is no wrong answer, only opportunities. I love that. Our dedicated team of experienced Pacifica School District teachers and staff will lead campers through a summer, and they have done that, of creation and innovation. Campers enjoy daily classes that focus on 4 areas: creative problem solving, building and strategic games, music performance, and robotics and STEAM programs. Through successful leadership from PSD Board of Directors, programming, Sydney Taylor, Tyler Parker, and the support from the Pacifica School District, St. Bridge Camp has supported and educated Pacifica youth successfully for over 10 years. I'm going to ask if Patrick Thayer will come up along with all of the members.
Go, Matt, go.
Come up.
You come on, Matt. No. I can't. I'm not. No, all right, great.
Cindy is the one that created the curriculum for Think Bridge, and it's a very unique camp, and we're just so happy that we're getting recognition for it. And Cindy has put many years of hard work into it, and it's such a unique camp. And we wanted to thank all the teachers and our volunteers and our staff, but also there was a lot of contribution from the district, and there was a lot of departments that helped us make it possible to run it this summer in Cabrillo. So we really had a really good camp this year, and a lot of it had to do with the people up here too. So it's been very nice. And Dr. Williams, we really appreciate this.
This is so kind of you. No problem. That's very great. Certificate of Appreciation awarded to St. Bridge Summer Camp, sponsored by the Pacifica School Volunteers. Thank you for your service and commitment to our students and staff. Awarded this 23rd day of August 2023. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, on to the communications. Our first communication is from LSCA.
I have to come by and I have to see how I yeah, and I was ready to teach
Are we good?
All right, Megan.
All right. Believe it or not, it's been only 6 days of school. Thank you to district office management and board members who came around the first day of school. It was noted and appreciated. Thank you to our site principals. We appreciate your collaboration with our union this year and all year. LSCA looks forward to the presentation this evening in honor of our union superhero, Patty McNally. This has not been the smoothest start. I'm not quite sure what a smooth start is lately, as the past few years have been chaotic from COVID to construction. This year, much of our union work has been centered on navigating changes that impact our teachers around staffing. LSCA has had many conversations with Dr. Williams about the district's goals of staffing our special ed program to ensure the least restrictive environment for our students in order for them to be the most successful. This includes making sure the services that are provided are outlined in the IEP. Good news, that's what we all want. However, this goal and decision directly impacts our union members whom we represent. The decision impacts key logistics that impede our teachers from doing their jobs safely and successfully. While the district maintains that this was a collective decision, our teachers were not part of the process. The change was brought about in an instant to them without their perspective or in a way that honors their knowledge of their students and their profession. LSEA has heard from our SDC, RSP, and general ed teachers impacted by this decision. Each member has voiced their similar concerns of the direct impact on them and their students. We have been sharing those with Dr. Williams and district management. The teachers continue to feel mistreated, disrespected, and riding the constant cycle of craziness in the operations of our district. We do appreciate Dr. Williams' time in communicating with LSEA leadership about the process, the reasons, and the rationale. We also appreciate she met our request to meet personally with the teachers directly impacted this afternoon. The teachers and LSEA leadership met after their meeting today. The issues, however, still remain. It was shared that Pacifica School District, specifically SDC, is under a level 2 compliance and is receiving monitoring by the state for least restrictive environment percentages. Currently, the amount of inclusion mainstreaming needs to be higher. It was expressed that this could partially be due to clerical errors, misunderstanding, or lack of knowledge on how to appropriately calculate the percentages. Even further impacted by the recent revelation of staff changes around staffing norms for special day classes. The new staffing norm that was revealed was irrelevant to the intensive or extensive needs of students. Considering the goal of increasing our least restrictive environment percentages is counterintuitive to reducing the support to special needs students to have success in the general education environment while reducing the scrutiny by the state of California. This simple decision on paper has far-reaching impacts to our school district as a whole. LSEA is interested and eager to see next steps to ensure our talented teachers feel safe and successful at their jobs. As always, LSEA remains committed to working collaboratively with our district leaders. Trustees, you receive emails from constituents and a handful from LSEA president. Those emails are not just from me, Megan Elsbrand. I am writing you on behalf of over 120 educators in Pacifica. Like these public comments, those are collaboratively written messages that contain more than my voice. A lack of response or acknowledgement of those emails is a lack of response or acknowledgement to those educators. Thank you, Trustee Villalobos, for always responding and acknowledging our work and looking for resolutions.
Yes.
Tonight, we have some of our educators physically present in support of this message tonight. Please support our special educators and please work collaboratively with us this year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next representative from CSEA.
Hello, my name is Nicole Sayers, and I am the president of CSEA Chapter 128. Tonight, I'd like to announce that our two CSEA Above and Beyond recipients for August 2023 are Bob Becker and Barbara Smith. Bob is the lead custodian for the district and works in FM&O. As the lead custodian, he oversees and trains new and substitute custodial staff. He is also responsible for ordering all janitorial supplies so that we all have a clean and safe work environment. Barbara Smith has worked for the district for many years, maybe 40. I'm not sure exactly. She works in the IT department and sets up all our emails and knows everything about Synergy. She hand inputs all student information into our system so we can all look easily when we want to look someone up. There is no way that I can know everything that Barbara does, but what I do know is that without her, we would be at a loss. The beginning of the school year has been very busy. We started off with an in-person professional development day, where we all took a look at the school district's mission for educating our students. It was a good day, and it was great to see everyone in person. And as we started the actual school year, the district relinquished the duties of the contracted paraprofessionals and behaviorists. Ultimately, I do think that's a good decision because I want to see more district employees in those positions, and it is a cost-saving measure. The district budget should look much better without the cost of contracted paraprofessionals and behaviorists. As with most decisions, this one came with timelines and deadlines that made it difficult to offer any preparation time. Our CSEA members had 1 day's notice to report to schools they hadn't worked in before, and some have been put into positions that they have little experience with. What I want to convey tonight is my sincerest gratitude for these members who are stepping up in less than perfect situations to do the best that they can to help their students in the first few days of school the best that they can. I'm extremely proud to be a part of CSEA and the fantastic workforce that always steps up to the challenge to keep things running in the Pacifica School District. I thank each and every one of them. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. Okay, people, overseeing the board. Slide. That's 7A comment and then 2 public comments. First, Gail Barrett, followed by Sue Beckmeyer.
Hello, my name is Gail Baird, and I'm a one-on-one paraprofessional at Ortega School, and I'm speaking on behalf of other special education staff. I have worked with my student for 3 years now, and have worked for the school district in special education for 15 years. The student that I work with has numerous special needs, and therefore many special services that I need to assist the student with. The most important help I give my student is to communicate using their AAC device, since he is nonverbal. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's an augmentative and alternative communication device. I also help my student with writing by using hand-over-hand technique. I explain or modify every assignment. I help the student in the restroom. At lunch, I make sure the student does not eat too fast or put too much in his mouth because the student has swallowing issues. I make sure the student is safe at recess because the student is frail. If another student bumps into my student and they fall, they could possibly break bones. I am also there to redirect the student with behavior problems. Basically, whatever needs my student needs, I'm there for them. This year, my student has moved to a longer school day by almost 30 minutes. I had notified our school district human resource department about this change. The principal had requested that my hours be changed. The director of special education, from what I was told, approved the 30-minute increase in my workday so that I could support my student. But then I received an email from Dr. Torres from Human Resources that the request had not been approved. I really appreciate both the principal and the director of special education trying to get this taken care of, but I don't understand why the requests keep getting sent back and not approved. I am being told that I'm supposed to work my prior year hours and leave my one-on-one student about 30 minutes before the new release time from school. I would like to ask the question, how does it make any common sense to send another person into the classroom to work with the one-on-one student that I work with for the last 30 minutes of the day? I then have to explain to that person that relieves me, who is currently a school nurse, what the class is working on so that that person can continue to help my student. The school nurse is being paid to be the school nurse, not being paid to be a paraprofessional. My student is now being confused as to why I am leaving them and then loses focus on what we should be doing. Yesterday was a good example as to why I need to stay with my student. His parent was not given any instruction on the homework assignments, was not given his math book to do the work. My relief person does not know the routine of the classroom and cannot let the parent know how his day went. In case people were not aware, special needs children create strong bond with their paraprofessional aides and teachers. They rely on us to keep them safe, educate them, and take care of them. I don't feel that the district is thinking about what they are taking away from these students when they're trying to save a few dollars. Shame on the Pacifica School District for trying to cut costs from the special education program staff. The district is going to lose qualified special education staff if they continue to cut staff hours. And I'd like to invite any of the board members, the superintendent, and any of the other people here to come to work with me for a whole day, not just come in and say, hi, how you doing? But for a whole day and work with my student and see how many needs are needed to be met with him. I'll be there to support you if you want to come work with me for the day. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Good, our next public comment from Sue Beckmeyer.
Okay, so I have something to say that I'm Sue Beckmeyer. I work at Cabrillo School in the library. Formerly did Nicole's job with CSEA, and very proud of you and the work you're doing. Thank you for giving kudos to all of the members, but really it's the leadership that helps us so much. I came here to say something that won't take the whole 3 minutes, so I'm going to save that for a minute and just tag on to what Gail just said. Prior to working in the library, I worked as a one-on-one aide, and I can 100% echo exactly what she just said. The level of interconnectedness that happens, and it is a strength of our district, that we, in our SKIAs or one-on-one positions, work with our students and move with them. Now, obviously, when there's a need and it's not a match and it doesn't work out, there's a need to make a change. But I had the great benefit and honor to work with my student from 2nd grade through 8th grade. The bonds that were formed are lifelong, and my ability to help him learn to advocate for himself as he moved to an older age when he needed to be doing that. You develop the fine art of receding and being invisible, but of course your eyes and your ears are watching every minute of what's going on. And it's just an incredible gift that we have this opportunity. So I just want to really support what Gail's saying and ask that you please find money to pay her salary that I'm telling you isn't that high for half an hour. Enough on that. I want to thank Alec and Stan and Barbara Smith for their incredible work to help us get this school year going. We had a change or a person who was formerly here, Mr. Novak, isn't here now. They have stepped up so much. And I say it not often enough, but the proliferation of devices over the years and the lack of proliferation of the people that work with the devices is striking. When Dan Little was here and put forward the very first really comprehensive technology plan, he embedded into that plan a stepwise increase in staffing as devices increase. At the time, the board members, and I know how you would all do the same, kind of rolled their eyes like, yeah, where are we going to get that money? But look where we are now. We have lots of devices. We don't have enough people. And those folks really stepped up and are continuing to step up. And I'm just going to do everything I can to keep their morale up. Because if I was working as hard as they are, I think it would be a hard grind, especially after being here all summer. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
I did see another card.
For 7A. For 7A. Okay. And then is there anyone online wishing to speak?
We have 4.
Okay. Just let us know. Okay. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah. The first speaker is Linda Bernardes. And
Hi, good evening. My name is Linda Benares, and I serve as parent chair of Pacifica School District's Special Education Parent Advisory Committee. I'm also mother to a 4th grade student who receives special education services. I'm here to stand for special education and specifically for support of our paraprofessionals. For the past 6 years, I've seen my son and other students benefit from the care, dedication, and knowledge these talented individuals bring to our schools. They are an essential part of the team that gives students access to their education. As our district faces increasing challenges with balancing revenue streams and expenditures while making decisions that honor equity and inclusion, I ask that full staffing for our paraprofessionals remain intact. And I ask that when shifts in placement are deemed necessary, that these trusted adults not be pulled suddenly, which can be extremely upsetting to the safe, stable learning environments our kids need. I've heard reports from parents and myself experienced that this latter situation has already occurred at numerous sites this school year, negatively impacting students, and our families are struggling to grapple with the implications. Please show our community that you value our paraprofessionals and care for our special needs community by supporting policies and budget decisions that reflect this. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Nicole Sackler.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Sackar, and I currently serve as the Ocean Shore School Site Rep on the Special Education Parent Advisory Committee. I am a parent of a first grader who receives special education services and who would tell you that she loves Ocean Shore, her friends, and her teachers. Challenged as she may be with her disability, my first grader is very proud of her community. I am here to stand for my daughter and for all of our students who rely on a stable special education program, but have not been able to access the paraprofessional support that they need and deserve. For my daughter's particular needs, a paraprofessional makes it possible for her to participate in a gen ed classroom. The one-on-one support helps to facilitate meaningful social interactions and provides the necessary prompting and redirection so my daughter does not find herself stuck at the top of a play structure after the bell has rung at the end of recess when all of her neurotypical peers have already made their way back to class. Difficult transitions for my child become even more challenging, and truthfully, I have come to question the dependability of her IEP when we learn last minute that an aide will not be coming and that there's also no substitute. One-on-one paraprofessional support is a heavy load-bearing pillar in my daughter's education at this point in her life. And without it, her placement is neither appropriate or free, as it's coming at a cost to my child. It has been heartbreaking to witness my daughter being denied her fundamental right to an appropriate education. I'm very broadly aware that there are budget constraints and rationale for the recent staffing changes. However, I ask that the board consider the very real constraints being placed on my daughter, other children, existing teachers, and staff when they're all left without the paraprofessional support needed. If I may suggest two things. First, increased transparency and communication with special education families regarding paraprofessional assignments and efforts to fill those roles. And second, consider measures to make open paraprofessional and special education program roles more appealing in order to attract and retain quality staff. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Peggy O'Brien.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Oh, how wonderful. This is my first experience in a Zoom meeting, so thank you. My name is Peggy O'Brien. I'm a Pacifica community member, and I just wanted to say this evening that I support special education in the Pacifica School District, and to ask all of you to please support our special education students, paraprofessionals, and professionals in every way possible. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Becky. All right. Our next speaker is Gwendolyn Holden.
There we go. There we go. Hi, my name is Gwendolyn Holden, and I'm a sixth grade teacher at IBL. And first, I wanted to recognize what the parents said, that it's not access to free education if we don't have the support. So the students that don't get the support that they're supposed to have, it's not an appropriate setting a lot of times if the students aren't getting the support. But that's about her. But what I wanted to say about what I plan to say is I'm here to speak my support of the special education teachers and paraprofessionals. Decisions that negatively affect the special education teachers really affect us all. Teachers, especially, we strive for inclusion and a least restrictive environment, and it's really hard to be able to have that inclusive, least restrictive environment without the extra support that we need. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, great. We will now move on to our correspondence. Is there no on board of correspondence? Any correspondence? I had a few emails and calls. One from Cecilia on DC regarding errors and concerns around that. Also been contacted by Michelle Gray and Jim Allen regarding the fields and addition and also potential price increases. Also, I got a call from former employee or soon-to-be former employee Gemma Cub regarding some retirement concerns. So I talked to the superintendent about all of this, and we're definitely addressing anyone else have any comments? Okay. And we will move on to our board superintendent communications.
The main thing since the last meeting was attended the personal development day while the teachers and staff was the first day of that. They were recognized for 2 years of service, 10, 15 of the person, 30, 40 years in there. Quite amazing. And then the first day of school, we went around with some district staff on the magic school bus. And then to each of the schools that morning, and to help out who the kids back and the teacher. I think district staff also went around earlier in the morning and got me coffee and donuts. I think it's a Sunday and coffee hearts.
I had a meeting with Parent Williams, and I agree. First day, I was on one school site, dropping off my daughter, but it was a really energetic and vibrant place. The teachers and staff, everybody had huge smiles on their faces, and so thank you to everyone for, I'm sure, what was similar across every single school site. A really happy moment for students and parents and to rejoin the district.
So I received the communications from Cecilia King, Larry Pelster, Stephanie Stein, Michelle Gray, and Jim Allen. They were about special education staffing and also the IDL, condition of the IDL. Don't we say those things before education?
Well, I'm thinking that we should probably do letters and correspondence, and then communications is sort of like what we've done in our reach.
I didn't get a chance to ride on the Magic School bus because I work at a school and it was our first day of school too. But I live right behind Ortega, and when I came out to leave, there was no parking in the street, and I was way up angry. And then I saw my neighbor who had 2 of his children, his wife, and I'm assuming grandparents, all walking together to school. So I'm sure
It was a nice day. So I'm sorry I can be. And then I have her in the very tight.
Yeah, I also participated in the PD day on Monday, which was really nice to get to introduce Dr. Williams to the staff, and also just nice being around the staff, sort of feeling like there was a little bit of COVID floating in the background, but feeling like it was actually a really kind of back to normal sort of feeling. So I was also on the Magic School Bus tour, which we reviewed in a little bit, but it was a lot of fun. We went to hit every single school in the district on the first day of school, and we tried our best to say hello to students and staff as many as we could while we were there. But it was a great experience, and I also am just appreciative to everyone that is putting in the time on the campuses, because it was really, it reminds me of how much everyone's constantly working to give these kids the education they deserve. So anyway, that was my couple of weeks.
Hi, everyone again. I had the opportunity to organize and join the Magic School Bus along with our cabinet members, and it was really an outstanding opportunity for us to interact with the community, with schools, and also to meet our students who were wonderfully excited, and so we really enjoyed the opportunity. In addition, I've started my visits to schools. I had the opportunity to visit one of the SEC classes at Ocean Shore, and also to participate in recess and help with supervision, and also interact with the students. And that was really the joy and highlight of my week. And I will reserve and share more during the first day of school update with the principal of the school.
Well, that rolls right into that. Definitely lost information. School site opening day update. So we are ready for that. Right. Yeah. We have slides on that. Yes. Got it.
And so this evening, I am proud to share with the Board of Trustees and the members of the Pacifica School District community just insight and highlights from our first day of school, along with the Magic School Bus Tour, which included cabinet members, myself, and some of our Board of Trustee members. We had a wonderful time. We started our morning very early with having breakfast with our transportation individual, as well as with our maintenance staff, and just kind of opportunity to wish them well and to welcome them to a new school year. In addition, next slide, thank you. We again were able to go around to each site, also to food services, to welcome the staff. And it was not a cameo opportunity, it was actually an opportunity for staff members and community members to know that we are starting the year together. And regardless to whatever highlights or bumps and bruises that we have, we're going to get through them together. We're going to get through them together passionately and respectful of all students, and also decisions that are made, and know that we can always have a conversation and come to a positive outcome. Next slide. Sunset Ridge School. So for the duration of this presentation, we have invited all of our principals to share a slide and to come up and to provide a highlight and overview of the first day of school. And we will start with Sunset Ridge.
So I'm Ellie Cundiff, and we had a great start to the school year. We had pastries with the principal and PTO, and that was very well attended. We had lots of fun. We have the staff members there. We did take a cameo opportunity there. We got into classrooms. We see pictures there. The kids were very excited to come back to school, and we were very excited to see them. Our special ed kids have started mainstreaming. We had a back to school assembly, making sure we know what it looks like and feels like to be kind to one another and to have a supportive school climate. We've been doing this while we've had construction in our kitchen and on our campus, and things have gone really smoothly. Our E-wing has got acoustic tiles, and it's really amazing to walk down that hallway. So, it's nice to see the campus getting improved and that we're working through together. All right. You want to add anything?
No, you said it all.
I said it all. I was supposed to leave something for you.
Yeah.
That's me.
We had a great first day as well. One of the highlights of the day was our little photo booth area. Our PTO set up a spot where parents and principal could pose with little stuffed dolphin, your siblings, and take pictures. There was a little line. It was really, really cute. There was some coffee for parents. Our PTO also hosted an orientation for new parents, which is something that we haven't done officially around that scale for a while. It was really well attended. And I think that it gave our new parents kind of a sense of what our school is about and how much we value the participation of parents in our program. Other than that, the pretty typical, this is kind of blocked, but we actually did a staff retreat the Sunday before school started. And there's a picture, which you can't see, of several of our staff members with a beautiful beach in the background. So Ocean Shore definitely started out with a focus on community, on building morale with our staff, and on involving our parents and our students in all things Ocean Shore. Thank you.
So as you can see, and Will take over.
Yeah, sure. Ingrid B. Lacey, the comprehensive middle school. We were there. We drove the Magic School Bus there. I'd also like to point out that I drove the Magic School Bus. There was a lot of backseat drivers. But at Ingrid B. Lacey, they had a great welcome. When we got there, the students were all kind of lined up at the right where we pulled up, right in front of the school. So we jumped out and hooped and hollered and everything. And then Mark, is in one of these pictures, Mark Bolter, Mark Bolter, like he does every single day. He was out there shaking hands and doing his big intro and energy. A lot of the middle schoolers were looking at the adults and saying, "Oh, this is a bit crazy, a little scary." But they came in and actually it really quieted down real quickly. The students got to their classrooms and they just started. That was the big thing about the opening day. And in talking with Miss Alderson, she said that the first day was very, very smoothly, much more smoother than she thought it would.
Thank you. There was also a dance at some point by Will, but we'll save that.
We don't have that video.
At Ortega, we also had a fabulous first day. Our PTO decorated with balloons and a banner, and they hosted a coffee and donuts for our parents. We had colorful cones and signs so that students can find their new lineup spot on the yard. We have a great bond, right? Got lots of construction on our field. So we are moving to the smaller area. So we had an expectations assembly where I could introduce myself to the Ortega students and we can go over how we play safe on a much smaller space. And we have more recesses now. You can see Dr. Williams participating in our assembly. The students really enjoyed seeing all the big signs. And we ended the week on Friday. Our PTO hosted a ice cream social. So families and students got to come, socialize, meet each other, and enjoy a sweet treat on that hot afternoon.
Thank you.
So at Cabrillo, we had an amazing first day of school. So we have, several new staff members and we have new students. We have new kindergartners on campus. So I always like capturing the essence of kindergarten on the first day of school because it's different every year. So this year it went really, really smooth. Lots of smiles, lots of really happy kids ready to come to school. So you can see our little kinder there in her first day of school frame. Up at the top left there, you see we have our new band teacher, Mr. Dan DeLay, and he was showing off, I think this is saxophone here. I can't see very well. I think he's showing off his saxophone skills, recruiting kids to from band. So that was really fun. I love this little picture in the middle, our welcome banner. This was made by our 8th grade students this year. And I just thought it was a really sweet way for sort of our senior class at Cabrillo to welcome the rest of the students. They all signed it and they left little notes. You can't see it's too small. And then we have our Magic School Bus crew. We had a really, really great first couple of days. We had an expectations ceremony or assembly as well, so they could get acclimated to rules and to the new principal at Cabrillo. But we had a really great first day back. And Dr. Williams got to meet one of my kiddos who's going to shadow her at some point. The future leader in our district. So
my job. All right, thank you. Belmar, I don't see it. It's Will again.
Balmar. They had a really great birthday. It was our last stop was Valamar at the end. And Ms. Vukovic was so busy that she wasn't able to meet us initially. But we, as we were leaving with the bus, the Magic School Bus, we found out that she was actually coming to the front door. So we made a U-turn legally. Back and joined her. That's the picture that you have up there. She came running out and joined us for a picture in front of there. And there's the other part. That's their wonderful office staff that came around to a picture of themselves. I was very impressed with the happiness that they had in their faces, and I know it was a very chaotic time in the front desk. That's Derek, right? Derek, I can't see. Moving furniture because because of the construction that was occurring, they were doing stuff literally on the first day, getting things all set up and ready to go. So they had a really good first day. Oh, and this is their new D-League. And the new playground courts, the basketball courts that are out there that were just recently constructed.
Thank you.
All right, Lindenmar Educational Center. So our first day was, typical for preschool special day class students. They were a little timid coming in, even though most of them had been there before. We had a couple brand new kiddos. So they warmed up pretty quickly. It was a pretty quick and efficient drop off because parents are kind of like, here you go. We're out of here. There is no coffee. There's no, they're just, we're good. We're good. We'll see you in 4 hours. And it went really well. The kids are transitioning back into school after being off for several weeks. They all attended extended school year through the summer. So they were with us until the middle of July. But now they have, a month off and get back to being in school. We enjoyed the Magic School Bus coming and meeting us in the office. And then also our preschool assessment team. They got to meet and hang out with for a little bit and talk about how things are done at Lindenmar, which is a little different than all of the other schools. But we are off to a good start and everybody's settling in nicely. Thank you.
I'll share a little bit about our startup of the year in special education, not necessarily first day, but just some highlights of the start of our year in special education. First, we reopened the WAVES program at Ingrid-Lacey Middle School. So this is a specialized program that I know that we've had it here in the district for reopening it for students that require a smaller setting for social and emotional difficulties, per their IEPs. So we're starting with a relatively small number, but we hope to be able to make placements with our students who need that placement. So that program is up and running. Also with our resource specialist program, we have, and Betsy's really been instrumental with this. We've added a curriculum called the Sunday system, which is an Orton Gillingham based methodology for teaching language arts. It's that Orton Gillingham's kind of the go-to for that, and especially students with dyslexia. So it's that approach, and we're really excited. Our teachers have already been trained. They were trained last Friday. They're already here. Really looking forward to implementing that for students who have goals in the areas of language arts with our resource specialists. We've talked about just being very cognizant of student needs and IEPs when we're staffing our classrooms. So we've been looking at all of our programs, all of our services, really making sure that we're staffed correctly and efficiently
According to
our students.
according
to students' IEPs, you're right there. According to students' IEPs, for sure. Positive behavior supports, and I put the methodology of PROACT training, which is a safety training that we are going to continue to do this school year. We have 2 in-house trainers. Our new manager of behavior and related services, Stacy Jiang, just got trained to be a trainer. And then Nicole Sayers is also trained to be a trainer. So we'll continue those trainings of our staff. It's kind of challenging logistically because it's like 15 hours of training that's necessary. So it's sometimes a Saturday is going to be needed. But we're looking forward to getting those set up really soon. And then just always refining our assessment systems, our referral systems, making sure people understand what it is, how they go about it, and that we have like the proper communication and internal things. So thank you.
Thank you.
And so we always want to keep in mind that we are always focused on the wellness of our students, and that all decisions that we're making are in honor of the students, and then also in honor of and in support of the adults who are commissioned to work with them. That is the message that I started this year with. That is the message and philosophy that is going to continue to advance my leadership here in Pacifica School District. And I look forward to continuing that feel of first day throughout the entire 2023-2024 school year. So thank you for allowing us to provide the update in terms of our first day of school. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Action items. So our first, we have 2 speakers on item 7A. We have the presentation first, and then speakers. How do we want to do that? We have speakers. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and have our speakers first. Huh? Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead. Great.
Doesn't need to be right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what the process is, sorry.
You just go ahead.
Okay.
All right. All right. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties there. All right, let's go with our first speaker, which is Mr. James Allen. Item 7A.
Okay. James Allen. I have a 8th grader at Gallimar, and I have a senior at Oceana who graduated Gallimar 8th grade. Been in the district for a long time. I'm also a field coordinator for AYSO soccer program in Pacifica. Currently this year, we have over 710 registered players. The program's great. We're rolling out next season our EPIC program, which stands for everyone plays in our community. It's a special needs program that we're the only one. I think Redwood City we're taking over Redwood City's program. So we're going to serve a big area, right? So with that, it costs money. We're probably going to take a loss on that. With these new fees that are going to be imposed, it's going to hurt us. I ask that you guys either postpone the vote for the fuel usage fee or vote no on it. I think it was poorly planned and maybe not too much background on it. It looks like we just took what outside cities and schools have as their basis, and we're using that without looking at the quality of our fields. Right now, the school district, I'm going to say, doesn't even have a field to play right now. We are currently renting out IBL. We're playing in some dirt over here. It's not mowed. Half of it's swamp. I understand there's issues, they're going to get fixed, but $35,000 was just invested in that field less than 6 months ago. When school let out, the field was beautiful. When the district maintenance program took it over, you could go out there and see it's unplayable right now. I do not have a kid there. Word of mouth, they're not allowed to play on PE or recess on this field right now because it's unusable, right? So that was $35,000 basically. Ocean Shore, about 2 years ago, had a beautiful field put in by TD Sports at $40,000. Go there now, it's unusable. It looks like a desert land. There was a $50,000 backstop, $35,000 to $50,000 backstop put in that IBL. How that helps the kids of IBL, I don't know. You don't play baseball there. You don't play softball there. They can play kickball, but if they need $50,000, $35,000 to $50,000 backstop, I think the money's being managed. It's got to just be thrown at it. And that's where I see this rate increase. It's just, hey, let's raise some more money without involving us. AYSO has been renting out fields from the district for over 20 years. We have a long-standing, and we're not going anywhere, right? So I think let's hold off on the rate agreement and involve us more. Ask us what our future plans in, how much, let's step it maybe. With Ortega being the field that we're mostly concerned about is going to go to an hourly rate, and we don't even know how many fields are going to be there. Is it going to be 1, 2, 3, 5? How is it? I can't budget it because I don't know how many fields I'm going to have there. Could we rent the whole complex? It doesn't really say in the rate sheet or how much it's going to be. It just says $40 an hour prorated. What does the prorated mean? I think we really need to. There's no rush, right? There's no rush to set it, but if we set it now, there's no going back. So let's push it a month. Get us all involved and just, talk about it a little bit more. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, and a second comment is from Michelle Gray on Senate.
You may have one more speaker.
Okay.
He'll submit his thing. Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Gray.
I have a 8th grader at IBL. If you got not, I'm down in my school right here, and I have a 4th grader in Pacifica. I come to the meetings quite often and try and reach out and interact to give everyone a little perspective on what I see. Right, so I consider myself sort of boots on the ground. People are busy or not on all the campuses all the time. So IBL is a particular passion for me because one of the many strengths of that school is their daily PE program. It's huge. You heard about Mark Bolter out there cheering kids on. Middle school is hard for these kids to have a fabulous PE program that even non-athletic kids love is really wonderful and profound and so important. This is my daughter's 3rd year at IBL, and it's also the 3rd year at IBL. She can't go out and play on her field. I was part of working with Josie and George and also Jim to try and get money into PSD so that you could fix up the IBL field for the students. And then it helps the community as well, right? And was part of the group that worked with Kegwin and Dorward for them to come in and do all their work, this $35,000. And it was wonderful. The excuse initially was, we don't have any money. Okay, AYSO is going to step up and run this. PSD said, we don't need it. Okay. And then the second thing is, we don't have enough people. All right, well, they were contracting stuff out. You're now full force. I will say you have 2 very nice, hardworking friends for sure. So, but it's not enough. Like they're not able to keep up with it. So Kevin and Gerwin came in, did the field looked wonderful. Oh my gosh, it was the PE it's so excited. The students were so excited. The staff was so excited. This is all there's in here. You can attest to that. And then part of that commitment was to maintain the field for a certain period of time, right? It was a little fragile when you start planting new seeds, so they stayed on. And then when it turned back over, I think due to just lack of not enough people or whatever, the field completely has degraded. And I was heartbroken to go out there on Monday and to see that the field is actually in worse shape than when it was when I reached out to see what we could do to fix it. I was stunned that that money was wasted. There were parts of it, I sent pictures to all the board members, and I really want to thank those that replied to me, and I very much appreciate it, because I know you're busy. There's what I call the high desert, right? So there's just some parts that there's nothing growing there. And then there's the swampland, so much so that when the groundskeeper was out there today trying to mow, I happened to be there with Will. Thank you so much for coming out, and Mrs. Overton, taking a look at things. The mower stopped working because the grass in the 20 area was way too high. And so I would be very happy to support the increase in rates and charges for the fields if we have usable fields. These are not new problems. This is the same thing I keep saying all the time. And it's just disheartening that for the Pacifica School District, this is acceptable to you for those 473 students at IBL. And that is acceptable to you for the rest of the community. And my daughter plays AYSO. I don't think I'd let her play on the field right now. I don't think it's safe. So it's shocking to me that we're having this conversation again. I don't know how it's going to change, right? It's really quite profound to me that we're in this situation and that this is acceptable. You have Fog Fest coming up. You have the broader community coming to IBL. Do you really want them to see the school looking like that? Especially when you're going to go out and ask them for more money for a bond. I don't think you'll get the support. So you need to get that field in better shape and keep it in better shape. Thanks.
Thank you, Michelle. Another comment?
There is one more speaker, Tim Berry, and we'll pass it for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, it's extremely hot in there. How you manage it, I don't know. But it's hello, PSD Board Superintendent Williams. My name is Tim Barrett. I'm the current president of Pacific American Little League. I have twins, 6th graders right now at IDL. I'm son who's aged out, so I started careers and loved his life experience at IDL. I've served on the board for 6 years, and the last 4 years as president. Last year, Powell, 350 kids playing the age of 4 to 14. I come to you not to represent Powell, but as a representative for youth sports in Pacifica. 4 years in Pacifica, I have coached AYSO soccer, CYF boys and girls basketball, and Powell baseball. Pacifica youth sports have survived and flourished because of the many volunteers who spent countless hours giving back to the community. I grew up in Pacific, and so did many of these coaches, league officials, and board members who are giving back to Pacific each day. Sorry. My entire professional career has been involved in youth sports, partnering from professional or school district employee. The work of local youth sports nonprofits in the community is vital to the enrichment of life in the community. As a partner professional, I've had several of these speed studies over the years that have always been considered the impact of the community nonprofit organizations. When I first joined the Powell board, we did not pay any fees. Powell and PSD met each start of the year, we went over the plan maintenance Powell was going to do, and no fee for charge. In recent years, Pacific American paid $50 a day per field use the field that are paid. But now it's a low fee. We did a majority of the maintenance on these fields. We added infields during each year so the fields were safe to play on. We pulled weeds, we filled holes, we cut the grass with maintenance staff below, and we fixed dugouts and fences that were broken and made sure it was safe for the kids. Last season, we paid approximately $10,000 in field fees to PSD. With the newly proposed increase, we would pay close to $40,000. This same hours for the 2024 season or fall, we currently charge a per player fee of $200 to play. We'd have to increase that to almost $350 to cover just that cost. Powell farmers and general public have already reached out to me with proposed fees were released, and there's a common theme. People are just upset that bond money it pays these fields, which taxpayers in Pacifica already voted on was approved. Now I see people are being asked to pay higher fees for the children playing youth sports in Pacifica. When you're youth sports, everyone wants to talk to you. Secondary school, where everyone wants to know and tell you what's going on. As you weigh your decision, I ask you to consider 2 things. You must increase the fees to $40 per hour per field, and you spread it over 2 years. So reduce the fiscal impact for nonprofit local sports in the city of Pacifica. 2, you, the PSD, are using Jefferson High School's rates as a comparison fee structure for a church softball, baseball field rental. Please remember that Ortega softball, baseball fields are not the same quality. Fees are not the same size as high school field. Please consider looking at fees that Burlington School District charges for Franklin Field or Alfred Field, which have similar artificial turf fields that are being installed in Ortega, but they charge only $28 an hour for Burlington nonprofit.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? All right. So,
Thank you. So, as you know, tonight before you, we are reviewing our facility use fees and asking the board to improve an increase to the facility use fees effective January 2024. Now, a little bit of background information is the board did approve the board policy back in May of 2023. I think there was an initial review in March. And then we did a presentation on June 14th, which is also attached. The presentation included what is the Civic Center Act and the board policies and a review of the San Mateo County school districts and what fees they charged. We actually gathered all the information and looked at what fees those districts were charging. And we kind of benchmarked our proposal on the lower of the average of the other school districts. So I think what we'll put on the is what we're proposing tonight. Now, what we didn't have at the time when we did this presentation was the turf playing field. So we looked at other turf playing fields in San Mateo County. Most of them were quite high. And then when we looked at Jefferson, they have like a 40% discount for City of Pacifica and Daly City residents. So we benchmarked our turf playing field on the Jefferson Union High School rates at $40 per hour for nonprofit and $100 for profit. Now, the one thing to note in this proposal is the Ortega field is going to be a multi-use field. We're looking at having several soccer fields on the field. There's going to we'll have a picture for you coming up, not tonight, but in a future time. There's going to be 2 baseball diamonds and several soccer fields. So it is feasible that you could have 2 to 3 users at the same time. So this proposal includes prorating the $40. If there's 3 people using the field, that amount would be prorated based on the 2 or 3 people. So these are the rates we're looking at. And one of the things we did talk about in June is our district was charging $50 a day, currently is charging $50 a day for use of all school facilities, not just fields, but outside basketball courts, classrooms, conference rooms. The only one we were charging per hour is the IBL gym, which has very high use in our district. So this is kind of like looking at switching from a daily rate to an hourly rate. And in looking at that, we also didn't want to price it too high. So we looked at all the San Mateo school districts, and the $20 per hour for basketballs and classroom and conference rooms is at the low end of the San Mateo County averages. We did have that in our June presentation. The other thing is, for organizations that are directly related to the school district per board policy, there is no charge except for like direct charges of custodial fees. What else? One of the things I wanted to point out about the board policy is all fees must go into a special fund toward the capital maintenance, repair, and refurbishment of the facilities. So that's very important. Is the district is receiving very minimal fees right now. And if the board would consider increasing the fees, we would be able to start putting more money into our facilities. We are looking at a January date so that we can have time for the community to adjust and, prepare for the increases in fees that we're proposing. So I don't know if the board has any further questions on the presentation from June or the fee schedule that we are proposing tonight. Any discussion or questions?
I have a question. There's not an option for a daily rate, and I'm just wondering why that is. It seems like with the larger nonprofits like AYSO and PAL, having 700 participants, that there should be some kind of discounted daily rate for them. I'm kind of apprehensive about it passing the cost along to the parents, because first it might be a stressor just to enroll, and then, by not having other options, they might have to pay more to have their students, in soccer. And so is there any way we could put a daily option in there?
We could look at maybe a cap I hadn't really thought about that. We were trying to go from a daily rate to an hourly rate to try to recoup the district's costs. Something that, we could talk about, maybe a cap on the day. Is that what you're thinking? Like a maximum amount.
Yeah,
Like-
I did see some of the numbers that Jim sent to us in an email, and it is quite expensive, shockingly expensive for our kids to play soccer now. And so that's when I just thought, well, maybe we could keep a daily rate for the larger nonprofits who are providing the sports. I know that there's other, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, but they're more small, maybe like the group we just saw was 3. We're talking about the larger sports clubs in Pacifica.
Yeah, and we did kind of take that into account when switching from a daily rate to an hourly rate, was keeping it low enough where if they were renting a classroom for $50 a day, we made it $20 an hour. So it could actually be less if they went for 1 hour, and then almost the same if they used it for 2 hours. So we thought about trying to keep it low when switching from daily to hourly. I do see your point about maybe having a ceiling for, I don't know how many hours. I think the field might be used on Saturday for 9 hours. So maybe we say, how many hours would that ceiling be? And then it would be that maximum rate. Is that kind of what you're asking?
Sort of.
But I do understand what you're saying. It is expensive to play sports, and it is very expensive to maintain the facilities at the same time, and to, pay for the custodial costs, the cleaning and the garbage. It all adds up. And I know it's just really, it passes it on to the community when you raise the rates.
No matter what happens, we just don't charge enough to cover the cost to maintain everything. I do think with everything that's happened in the past, that getting kids out and playing outside is really important too. And so I don't think discouraging them or the parents, paying higher fees or not sponsoring another bond if we need it, equals like having a cap or a daily rate as an option. Maybe keeping these rates, but then also having another option.
I have a question. Which schools' fields are typically rented?
The IBL field, the Ortega fields before they were under construction, and very little use of the Valleymar field, just when the Pacifica girls softball was expanding, and the Cabrillo field is high usage by the Pacifica girls softball. The Sunset Ridge field and Ocean Shore field have not historically had rentals.
And the funding that goes into the capital fund that you mentioned, is that a school by school fund, or it's just a general pool that's used at the discretion of what needs to be maintained?
It's a general capital outlay fund. It's Fund 40. And having funds deposited there would give you the ability to plan ahead and make large purchases, such as a new mower, or do facility improvements, such as the portable at Cabrillo that we're repairing this summer. So it is a separate fund. It's a district-wide fund that we would plan ahead for in repairs and look at priorities.
One last question. And do we have kind of a set of those priorities by school of the cost associated with whatever types of maintenance or improvements that need to be made?
We could bring that at the facilities update, because there's a lot of portable repairs needed right now. The roofs and the portables are something that is in high need of repair. And as you heard, the fields also need maintenance on a regular basis.
The reason for the question is just to see if we pour money into that fund, making sure that we have a clear kind of prioritization that we can share kind of transparently on where those funds would go.
Yes. We would definitely do that and have a report for the board on that.
I have a question. I'm just curious in the past if we've had individual contracts with AYSO and PAL. I know we have one with the Pacifica Girls Softball League. But my wonder, is that maybe we just contract out the entire season and give it a flat price that makes sense to everybody for those big organizations. And then we continue with our price adjustment. I mean, the reality is we have to pay for the fields. Obviously, we're still not there yet. I was here a year ago saying how frustrated and embarrassed I was by the fields. And I'm similarly feeling that same way. There's a lot of energy has been put in by a lot of volunteers to try to get this where we need to get. So we're not there yet. So I absolutely understand the pushback and feeling like raising the rates is problematic. But our hope is we get there, and then we need to maintain it and pay for it. So this is a place where we're in this kind of a pickle because we understand the community, wants low rates, and we all would like to give that, but at the same time, we have to pay people to maintain. So I do think maybe we should talk to the individual big programs that have, big use and see if we can maybe work out, a number that seems a little more agreeable for them. But I also feel like we need to raise our rates to get to the place that we can actually maintain the fields so that we're all proud and happy with them. So I'm sort of in a conflicted place on this.
That is a good point that you brought up. I think that we are in a transition period, and I think we will be there with Ortega when Ortega opens in January. But what do we do between now and January, and possibly, between now and the time that our IBL field is in a very good playable position? We have done maintenance MOUs before. We have an MOU that's coming to the board very soon for the Pacifica American Little League at Pal Park on the east side of Ortega, and we're working on that right now. I think that is something that we could look at, is being flexible with the IBL field while we get this in a better state. If the board is willing to move forward with a rate increase and authorize staff to negotiate favorable, comparable rates for those organizations so that they can move forward with their field and we can get the condition of the field improved. Maybe I'm not articulating it well, but it is something that we can look at is trying to work with them through this next season, the fall season.
That makes sense to me. I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that.
I feel conflicted because some of the fields are not up to par. And so I'm kind of thinking like a community member, like how can we raise the prices when something is not looking right? And so I think I would hold off until we had a daily rate or a negotiated rate with the bigger organizations. And the reason is because they're benefiting our kids. And we don't want to have it so it's so expensive by passing on the cost that there's not so many enrolling.
I guess my only comment would be I really like some of the ideas that were brought up, Josie, around a cap, things like that kind of create a little bit of a soft landing for our high use partners of our field. And I think it's worth looking at some of those options. I think in general, it's hard to see a path of how our fields get fixed if we don't have funding for it. So I'm in favor of moving towards a more comparable rate to the county. But I also like those ideas that you brought up, and I think those should be incorporated in to see what a cap looks like, maybe an MOU, although I'm hesitant to treat different organizations differently, especially if they're nonprofits. But yeah, I think those ideas are really good and should be embedded in the proposal.
And I'm pretty much the same, increasing the rates in general, eventually, like you said, it could be January or later. But with the big groups that are here working something out, like I said, either a cap rate or some discount or something that really, let's see how it'll go next year, but how it feels like and how we're taking it, see how it ends up. But for the general public, I wouldn't be opposed to an increase.
So I kind of feel like we should probably table this and then work on those couple items, maybe reaching out to AYSO and PAL and then maybe a cap that makes sense compared to the last, the historical.
Okay, and so far as timeline goes, we want to give the community enough time to adjust because there are a lot of other users for the facilities. So we could work on this over the next month on a possible daily cap amount and then bring it back to the board in September or whatever.
Yeah, we can do September 13th if you would be ready for that.
September 13th, we could bring it back. I'm considering the recommendations and comments this evening, and then we'll update it. And also we can share it prior to for your review and weekly update.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the direction.
All right. Next is Mr. Will Lucy and the consolidation application for 2023-2024.
Yes, what you have in front of you is a recommendation that the board approve the 23-24 consolidated application to the California State Department of Education. The consolidated app is prepared annually. And what is attached is the proposed certification of the 2023-24 spring release. There's two cycles to this. There's the spring release where you should I get up there?
Yeah.
This is new. This is new. So the consolidated app, there's two releases. There's the spring release and the winter release. This is the spring release. It is a bit delayed in that the spring release was supposed to be completed by the end of June and approved before the school year started. But because of delays, kind of as a happening of COVID and the delays before that. So this is kind of a trickle down delay that it wasn't released until the beginning of August. And the certification, the deadline for certification is August 31st, which is why I bring it to you today. The Con App is prepared in conjunction with the LCAP process, but it involves the federal funding. And the LCAP federal addendum and the Con App are reviewed and approved by the school board. The spring release and the certification application was attached to the board agenda. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
So sorry. Can you explain? So this is for the ESSA funds that are still available for.
It's connected to the ESSA funds, but it's more of the Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV funds. Okay. So it's more on the federal end of it. Yeah. Yeah. And this is for the 23-24 school year.
And just and you may not have this right off the top of your head, but do you know year over year how that allocation has changed? Are we getting more? Are we requesting more or less federal funds? And I know a lot of this is tied to student population, but do we have a sense of?
Title III has pretty much been around the same. I think Josie could really comment on this.
Title III is English language learners.
English language learners, and it's. I just found out today because it was released today. The appropriate and it's $28,114 for Title III. Title I kind of goes back and forth because it's dependent on how much they're giving for each student that is socioeconomically socioeconomically disadvantaged. Yeah. And then Title II has been pretty much the same. There was 1 year about 3 years ago that it got cut pretty significantly for, I don't know what reason, but it's.
And that's professional development.
That's professional development. That's a teacher quality. It's a teacher quality one. And in Title IV is always tipped at 10,000, at least as long as I've known it. That's for mostly for technology.
Thank you. Okay.
Very happy.
Are there any other questions? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the 2023-2024 consolidated application to the California State Department of Education?
I make a motion.
All right. Do I have a second?
Oh, second.
David, please raise your hand. Eugene passes 4-0. Right. Great. We're now moving on to the dedication of the Ocean Shore School Library. This is an action item. Josie and Mrs. Bellinger.
Thank you. Tonight we do have guests, presenters. The Ocean Shore PTO made a request to dedicate the library to the memory of Patty McNally, including the placement of a plaque. The 2023 graduates voted to use their class funds for the purchase of a plaque honoring Patty McNally. The PTO hopes to unveil and install this plaque in mid-October to coincide with Ocean Shore's 50th anniversary celebration. And we do have Jean Bellinger, and I'm not sure if Kendra's here as well.
I'm here, but Jean's not.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there we go. Oh, Virginia, you can wave. You're in the picture. Most people in this room know, but maybe people watching from home don't, that Patty McNally taught at Ocean Shore, formerly the Laguna Salada Alternative School, for 46 years. She was instrumental in forming the hands-on, experiential, community-focused program that Ocean Shore still embraces. She pioneered programs such as Ocean 411, overnight field trips, and the annual Winter Bazaar, where students sell their handmade crafts and sometimes their parents' handmade crafts to raise money for local Pacifica nonprofits such as the Pacifica Resource Center. That was our the former picture was our triumphant 4 or 5 teachers, Virginia, Jonathan, Harris, and Patty, who worked together for over 15 years, Virginia? Long time. So Patty taught her students to take responsibility for their actions. They're learning their fellow students, their community. Patty was able to get, Patty was always able to get parent volunteers if no one else could. You just didn't say no to Patty. I learned that as a new teacher at Ocean Shore, and many parents learned that. She was also an avid reader and invited generations of students into the world of reading for knowledge and for pleasure. There she is with 2 generations of teachers. So with Natasha Glasgow, who teaches first grade, who are at Ocean Shore, who also went to Ocean Shore, and with her mom, Carol Stoddard, who taught for many years at Cabrillo and retired from there, and with her 2 children who are attending Ocean Shore now. So that was a Zoom meeting. That was election day, and so we all wore our pearls in honor of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, actually. So anyway, Patty gave her heart and soul to the Pacifica School District Day and Day for 46 years. She supported students and their families, advocated for her colleagues as an active member of LSEA, and taught all of us to support the entire Pacifica community. She was unrivaled, and she deserves this honor. We ask you to support our petition to dedicate the Ocean Shore Library in memory of Patricia A. McNally. In October, we are commemorating our 50th anniversary and would love to add the unveiling of a plaque dedicating the library to Patty. Thank you for your continued support of our school, all of you, and our desire to honor Patty McNally's decades of service to the children of Pacifica. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution.
You want me to read the resolution, or someone else want to read the resolution?
Trustees.
You're going to read the resolution?
We were going to read it around, but
I do not need to read anything else.
Okay. All right. We will read it and then we will vote on it. So a resolution 2023-08-23-A, Board of Trustees, Pacifica School District, County of San Mateo, State of California. Dedication of Ocean Shore Library in memory of Patricia A. McNally. Resolved, excuse my glasses are not. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District, County of San Mateo, State of California, that whereas the Pacifica School District and the broader Pacifica community lost a strong, generous, knowledgeable, and kind teacher and mentor on November 15th, 2020, with the death of Patricia A. McNally. And
whereas Patricia A. McNally, Patty, served as a teacher for 46 years at Ocean Shore School, formerly Laguna Salada Alternative School, and was instrumental in forming the hands-on experimental community-focused program still embraced at Ocean Shore School. And
whereas she pioneered programs such as Oceans 411, overnight field trips, and the annual Ocean Shore Winter Bazaar, which raised money for local nonprofits such as the Pacifica Resource Center. And
whereas Patty McNally inspired countless students and prepared them to become effective, inclusive, and thoughtful community members. And
whereas she supported her coworkers and advocated for her colleagues as an active member of LSEA. And
whereas Patty McNally was an avid reader and invited generations of students into the world of reading for knowledge and for pleasure. And
whereas her generous spirit and fierce loyalty enriched those fortunate enough to know and work with her. And
whereas Patty McNally's legacy lies in the profound effect she has had on the Pacifica School District and the countless students she taught and colleagues she mentored throughout her career.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District recognize the significant contributions of Patty McNally and honors the request of the Ocean Shore School PTO to dedicate the library at Ocean Shore School in memory of Patricia A. McNally. All right. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
A motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. All right. Thank you. Well, thank you, Patty. All right. Next is the approval of the Board of Trustees 2023-2024 meeting calendar. It's an action item. Let's see. I think all of us reviewed the dates. Yeah. Were there any questions or concerns regarding the dates that were proposed? Okay.
This is just for the school calendar.
Yeah, just the school calendar year. We're just finishing up our meetings. So do I have any questions? Any questions regarding this item?
I likely will not be able to make this September work study.
Okay.
Time frame.
Well, that baby. Okay.
To acknowledge.
All right.
Not because I don't want to. I would prefer to probably.
All right. Do I have a motion to go ahead and approve the draft board meeting calendar dates for the second half of the 2023-2024 school year as presented?
Make a motion.
Okay. All right. It is also recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the draft governance calendar as attached. Is that another thing? Yes, our governance calendar, sorry. Are there any questions around that? All right, do I have a motion to approve the draft board governance calendar for 2023-2024?
I'll make a motion.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right. And we're on to the Board of Trustees Superintendent's recap and future agenda items. Would anyone like to make a comment or recap anything or concerns or thoughts for the future?
So big. I'm gonna read it with Patty. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that was a wonderful proposal to bring forth. And then I, the only other comment that I will make is, you know, our district, like every other district, has so many things that we need to improve and continue to work on. But just hearing the stories and my own visits of school campuses, what's amazing about this district is that the folks that are facing students and parents, they're not showing that, right? They're showing kind of this amazing positive attitude to rally the entire community around the opening of school. And we will deal with and we will, you know, fix the things that need to get fixed. But I just appreciate that from all of the teachers and staff around the community.
Other comments? Right. I just want to echo the same sentiment. I do appreciate advocacy always, particularly for children. And so that is the way that we get better, and we get better together, and by listening to one another, and then also understanding when we have differences, and then also making sure that, as mentioned earlier in the meeting, that we continue to yield toward the best interest of our children. And so just welcome continuous feedback and growing together alongside of everyone in the Pacifica community.
Great. All right, thank you. And with that, we'll adjourn our meeting at 7:36 p.m.
Recording stopped.